823. Welcome back. 751-1041 is the phone number. All right, let me get back to a few local items, and I got a lot to get to today. I just realized this. I got into the station super early today, so I went through all my notes, and there was a couple of items that I forgot that I wanted to make sure we got to. Most specifically, did you hear Florida passes a plan for racially based academic goals? We'll get into. We've got Promotions JP is in studio training to take over for the television producing for the CW58 Cable Channel 8. You did not just give me a look that said, yeah, I'm cool with that. That's good. Yeah, no. He's like, well, I can see that. Yeah, why not? The Florida State Board of Education, and I'll get into more of this later on, passed a plan that sets goals for students in math and reading based upon their race. By 2018, they want 90% of Asian students, 88% of white students, 81% of Hispanics, 74% of black students to be reading at or above grade level. You know what? I take it back. I'm doing it now. Are you kidding me? This sounds like, look, this is not real. This has to be something out of The Onion. How stereotypical can you, how horrible is that? For math, the goals are 92% of Asian kids to be proficient, whites at 86%, Hispanics at 80%, and blacks 74%. It also measures by other groupings, such as poverty, disabilities as well. Wow. The plan has infuriated many community activists in Palm Beach County and across the state. You know what? Here's the sad thing, though. They do this, and you want to know what's coming to TUSD? It's this. Well, they've already tried to do stuff like this in TUSD. We had the circumstance a couple of years ago where they said they were going to be hiring based off of the color of teacher skin. And they actually said specifically because a teacher with brown skin can better relate to the other students of brown skin. Well, what does that say to the teacher of white skin who's not as brown as the student? To expect less from one demographic and more from another is just a little off base, according to Juan Lopez, magnet coordinator at John F. Kennedy Middle School in Riviera Beach, according to the Palm Beach Post. 751-1041 is the phone number. The Florida Department of Education said the goals recognize that not every group is starting from the same point and are meant to be ambitious but realistic. The State Board of Education chairwoman, Kathleen Shanahan, said, "We've set a very high goal for all students to reach in Florida." But Palm Beach County School Board Vice Chairwoman Deborah Robinson isn't buying the rationale. "I'm somewhere between complete and utter disgust and anger and disappointment with humanity." She said that she's been receiving complaints from upset black and Hispanic parents since the state board took its action this week. You know what? Here's the sad part, though. You know, how many parents would be like, yeah, I'm cool with that? Are you kidding me? My kid doesn't have to do as well. I'm fine with that. Robinson called the state's board actions essentially proclaiming racism, and she wants Palm Beach County to continue to educate every child with the same expectations regardless of race. You know, the sad part is that they do something like this, and there are those that will champion it, saying, well, it's about fairness. This is only fair. Some kids have a harder time achieving. So it's just about making sure that everybody's on an even keel. So that's why we're going to have 90% of Asian students, 88% of white students, 81% of Hispanics, 74% of black students to be reading at or above a grade level. Wow. That's insane to me. That anybody would sit back, do that, and go, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and divide the kids up by their races. And we'll then go and define how much each of them needs to succeed based off of the color of their skin and their background. Let's go and talk with Michael. Good morning, Michael. Welcome to John Justice Show.
Hey, John. How are you?
I'm all right, man. This is insane.
It's maddening. I mean, and we're the racists, right?
Right.
I mean, the party that controls the educational system in this country and I'm assuming in Florida, also happens to be the one that claims to be for minority rights, but they want to keep race baiting all day, every day.
Yeah, I mean their attempt to be all inclusive and to bring about diversity, all it does is divide.
Yeah,
that's all that it does.
You know, and you mentioned before that TUSD has tried to do some of the same stuff before. Remember last year or the year before when they were trying to come up with a plan to recruit more white kids?
Oh, right, that's right.
Because
that's right.
They needed to raise their test scores.
That's right. Well, they did that.
The same stuff.
They did
how hard is it?
They did that, and they also decided that they were going to start disciplining based off the color of their skin, because they said they had a disproportionate amount of Hispanic kids that were getting in trouble over white kids. So if you had two kids, one white and one Hispanic, who were both caught doing the same thing, one would be punished more harshly than the other to make sure that they were on an even keel in terms of percentages of kids who were getting either, suspended or sent to detention. Got to be fair. Let's talk to Dave. Good morning, Dave. Welcome to the John Justice Show.
Morning, John. This is just affirmative action by the numbers. They're quantifying it now. Basically, they're just telling these minority groups that they are not as smart as other groups.
Yeah. Yeah. How would you feel if you're one of the kids?
Yeah, that would make you feel awful.
Yeah, on any end of the spectrum, why am I being held up to here, and why am I being held down to here? By the way, Dave, thanks for the phone call. It gets worse. I've got another story. Have you heard about Mix It Up at Lunch Day? Mix It Up at Lunch Day. Essentially, they encourage the kids, or they tell kids to go and sit with the groups you don't normally sit with. Cliques are not allowed. So you're going to have the goths hanging with the nerds, and the jocks hanging with the goths. I know there's more groups than that. I just need to write it down. So, all right, more of the John Justice Show coming up on 104.1 The Truth.